What's going on? Alright, there's this concept. It's called the forest and the trees. And basically, this little parable, uh, it's like Chinese philosophy. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly where I heard it, but it's like if you like if you focus on individual trees, you will not see the forest. But yet, if you focus on the forest, you will not recognize the individual trees. Uh, so it's like in order to have a grand understanding, a full understanding, it's good to take a step back and look at the whole forest, and also get a close look of each tree individually. And once you have seen all the trees up close individually, you can stand back and see the whole forest. And you won't miss anything. But even though if you stand back and see the whole forest, but you've never really went and looked at the individual trees, you don't really see the whole forest because it's beyond what you can see. It's all your perception and all your sight is true vision. You know what I'm saying? That's the twofold vision. And that's the way you can actually see the whole forest, even though you know the backside of it's obscured. It's because you've already been there, so you know what's there. So in your mind, you can see it even though you're not actually seeing it. And if you apply this concept to the Bible, it'd be like, okay, forest and trees. Here's forest for the trees, or trees for the forest. Uh, for instance, if someone like tries to like say a person got good intentions and they just all they preach is like John 3:16, which that's a very nice tree, a true tree, but it's just a tree. It is a reflection of the whole forest, but yet it's not the whole forest. You know what I'm saying? Or for instance, like you get non-messianic Jews, and they only study basically in a way they say the Torah, but it's really the Talmud, which the Talmud is just branches off a tree, one tree, and they actually don't even really observe the tree. But to us, it sounds as if they observe a tree, but yet they deny that the rest of the forest is there. So it's like, okay, like if you know if you read the whole all the scriptures, but yet uh, you can't go back and pinpoint if you don't your knowledge ain't good enough to like recite like actually like where the which book they're in a way that's looking at the forest but really have never really looked at the trees, or like someone who only studies the New Testament or like the works of Paul, but yet they've never went back and looked at Moses or the prophets. You know what I'm saying? So to get a true understanding of Scripture, like to its fullest maturity, you have to look at the whole forest and take the time to observe each tree and see the difference between them. Even though, I mean, this analogy is even in the Bible itself. It says like there'll be a tree with 12 different fruits on it, or there's the tree of life, and then there's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And it also says a person's faith is like seeds cast on different kinds of soil. Like good soil makes you'll have a good fruit, good result. But if it's built off the wrong motives, the wrong place, and the wrong soil, it won't come to it won't go to its fullness. Or it might not even, it might survive for a time just to fail later, that's the same thing. Like if you study too much on the whole forest, not look at each individual freaking tree, or you study a few individual trees to the like really good, but yet miss out on the full forest. Either way, you're gonna have a freaking that you'll be missing something in your perception and your awareness of your understanding. Not to say though, sometimes you can glean the big picture from a good look at a small picture, or you can be aware of these smaller details from a broad, grand look. If your vision is good, or if you can see, if you can see things without never have seeing them. In a way, it's the way the mind works, especially when the mind's under the influence of spirit. The spirit is it's another plane that's in our existence that can be tapped into by those who are willing or open to it. Uh, and that can there's evil spirits in this thing, and there's good spirit. So there's two different types, and it's like depending on which you use to gain your understandings. Is like there's some people. Two people can look at the same exact freaking thing and come to two different, totally radically opposite conclusions, and both can be kind of right and kind of wrong, or one can be totally wrong and the other one can be totally right. It's how these things work. It's like I think in Second Ezra's it said that the sea plotted against the forest because the sea wanted more space, and then the forest plotted against the sea to make more land so it would have more than the sea. But both of them are a plain, or are it was a vain plots. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's another kind of example of this that's in scripture or extra biblical texts. It's like the forest is the border of the sea, and the sea is the edge of the forest. So it's like, without one or the other, uh, there's disharmony. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing with this, with getting. I mean, I see a lot of people love to do this. They love to kind of get you looking at the mountain while they're over here on the grindstone, or they'll be showing you the grindstone when they're going towards the mountain. This that thing, that technique right there is that's a good technique to teach someone, and also to deceive someone. So in the same thing that you can teach someone and open their eyes, you can also use to pull the wool over their eyes. So I mean that's why it's like it says somewhere in the scripture, it says, and hereby this we know both the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. And that's the forest and trees as well. You know what I'm saying? By if you know every dirty freaking trick in the book, it's going to be very hard for people to deceive you. So in a way, if you just applied that knowledge towards truth, it would be a good thing. But if you apply that knowledge towards continuing on in a rebellious, manipulative fashion, it's bad. Uh, so there's an even other aspect of the forest and the trees. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because I knew what it was like before I had this ability. Uh, it's like I thought I was looking at the forest, but I was so close to the tree. There's no way I could see everything anyway. That's a liberating experience and a humbling experience. See, that's why it says, humbleness and meekness are those that they will be taught. You know what I'm saying? So, same thing with this. Freaking, sometimes having a advanced knowledge of a tree blinds you from the forest, or having a knowing that forest, man, from looking at it from afar, hinders you from, because you think you've seen all there is to see, you never go to look at the individual freaking trees. So I encourage everyone to take a forest and the trees approach to scripture, but not just scripture, with everything. You know what I'm saying? So that, like, it's the only thing that, like I said, and it's pride. It's pride that blinds people to the fact where they think that there's no more to look at. I've done everything I can do in this area, but it's like maybe you have, but have you took a step back and looked at it from a different perspective, then went back to what you were looking at, and then you had such a great grasp and understanding of, and you'll see it differently again, and deeper and more clearly, and you'll have a better better understanding of a thing. And it's like so it's like there's the two approaches to it. It's like, but look, there's just, it's your starting point. You can start from a tree to tree to tree approach, or you can start from the broad look and then go in closer and more individually. It'll increase your understanding of the large look, and likewise your close understanding of these things. When you step back, it gives you a better view. But to do one or the other and forsake the other is going to be blinding. But to use both these things, it'll broaden your view.